So my first question is, why did you join Instilt?
I actually go to school with Nalab. We're both at the University of British Columbia and we're in the same program. We became friends and he started talking about this organization that he created. So he was like talking about the mission and, how many people he's helped and like and basically how cool it is and seeing how passionate he was about it and the impact that it has on the world. I was like, this could be a really valuable experience for me to have. So I decided to join.
So what were the expectations you had for the organization versus the reality of it?
Ooh, I mean, I knew it was like a student-led organization. So I gotta be honest, I didn't have like the highest expectations for like the management or like the goals that you've
Mm-hmm.
achieved. But once I got here, like it's really clear how much everyone cares and how much effort they put into it. And like this is like a real organization. Like it promotes
Yeah.
real change, which is really cool. It's been interesting to see like how much effort people put into that. So,
I think personally, I joined I guess roughly a week ago or a bit more than that.
oh yeah,
And what was so surprising is how amazingly organized it
right.
is. It's like everybody is up to date. There are people reaching out to you, and
Mhm.
there's so many perfect branches, and everybody is so organized and passionate. And that's
Yeah,
what I just was so surprised at, like, in a really good way.
I'm on exactly the same page. Even like,
Yeah.
okay, so I joined and immediately an HR member reached out to me and I was like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness, it's like official. I was like, wow, this is like intense, but
Yes.
in a good way.
Yeah. So what's something that you think sets Instill apart from other organizations?
I think it's very like community driven, which sounds rather vague, so I will elaborate. First and foremost, like we are all students, so we are all
Mhm.
learning. And even though we're like teaching other people, we're still
Mhm.
very much like wanting to learn ourselves. So, like, for instance, I love learning. I have taught lots of people, and in my current like actual job, I do a lot of like school programming. But I had never built a curriculum before, and I have never been like used to managing people like that. But there are lots of opportunities here for me to explore. So not only have I now like become a manager, I have a team of 30 people, but I've like been able to be creative and like come up with projects for them and come up with projects for myself. So like I was able to like network with some people from other organizations and like make some changes to our own curriculum. And so it's very like the organization's goals are very much driven by like individual goals, but because we're all here for the good of the children, and for their education, it's something that's all close to our heart, I think. So it's very driven that way as well. Lots of people on my team specifically, I'm not sure about other teams, but lots of them were saying they come from a similar background to our students, where they didn't have the most resources to learn, or they didn't have access to like English education, or they had struggled themselves to learn English, but now they had like access to good tutors and like they're able to speak fluently now, which is incredible. Like languages are so weird. That's crazy. They are very much involved that way. So they know, like, okay, when I was a student in that position, I would have loved to see this, or I would have loved for a tutor to be able to teach me this. I think Instilt is very much like a grounded organization. We're not separate from the people we teach, we're very much including them in the process.
So the next one is, what's a challenge that you face or have faced as a tutor, and how do you plan to, or how did you overcome it?
So I actually don't tutor with the organization.
Oh,
I
okay.
am strictly in a management role, which makes me
Okay.
sad. But I know in my actual job, I teach a lot of kids. I do school programming, field trips, and I can kind of talk about the challenges that I've seen there because I think they do apply to most kids nowadays. The biggest thing that I've seen is after COVID, kids don't know how to like play anymore, which is really weird to think about because like growing up, my parents would send me into the woods and they're like, okay, like come back at this time. And you would create these like entire lives and like build structures. And it's like insane, but you get that experience. And I feel like you get to learn a lot from that. But now with school being like very regimented and like standardized test focused, and then with COVID, it was very much everything was online. Kids don't have the opportunity to like learn from play anymore. So I think one thing that Instilt should focus on as well is like learning how to help the kids learn through playing again. Like that's how you get the application of language. Like you can learn as much grammar as you want, but actually applying it can be difficult. So we need to create like environments for them to be able to do that.